You're listening to the Orchestra Teacher Podcast. Welcome to the Orchestra Teacher Podcast. This is Dr. Charles Laux, and I am back with our third episode for today with an amazing person and someone I just met not too long ago, actually. Miss Katie Eakes is here from all the way from Anchorage, Alaska. Katie, thank you so much for being here today.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So we met, I guess, in November when I was in Anchorage for the very first time, and then we got to know each other a little bit better a few weeks ago when I was there working with you guys and all the awesome teachers there in Anchorage. We just had such a fun time, and got to share all kinds of ideas and all of that. So Katie is a bass player. And you've been in Anchorage for a long time. Can you tell us a little bit about like your background and where you're from and all that you've done?
Sure. I am a born and raised Alaskan.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people here from all over, but I was raised here, and I went to Texas Tech, and I met Paul Sharp. Actually, he's from Alaska, the
Oh,
bass professor. And so I ended up in Lubbock, Texas, and I spent 6 years there, and I did the Texas Tech String Project, 5 years with that program, which is just incredibly invaluable, honestly.
yeah. The string projects are just you can't really beat it for getting that pre-service experience.
It was amazing. My two supervising instructors were Dr. Bruce Wood
Oh yeah.
and Margaret Brown, and I think she's in Dallas, Texas right now.
Okay.
Uh, but she just retired in the past couple of years from public school teaching and moved to the university level, of course.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but then after I graduated, I came back to Alaska and applied for a position with the Anchorage School District, and I've been teaching for 17 years now. So,
Awesome. Awesome. And you have several schools that you're at. You're mostly first, second, third year players. Tell us about your schools and situations, because I know that they were very different, the two schools.
they they are. It seems almost like oil and water, but when you get down to it, kids are kids. Um, I teach at a Title I middle school that's only seventh and eighth grade, which is a part of the history of Anchorage School District. We should be adding sixth grade in the future. And then I teach also at a K-8 back to basics ABC school, but I only teach sixth through eighth grade orchestra, and I teach beginning sixth grade orchestra 5 days a week. And then the 7-8 class is a combination, and I teach that class 5 days a week as well. So I'm teaching 4 or 5 classes a day
Yeah.
between the two schools.
Yeah. But it sounds like, and you've been at those schools for a while, or you've moved schools within your district a few times, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've taught a couple elementaries, and I've taught at 2 different high schools, literally on the opposite sides of the district.
Oh,
Um, yeah, that was a little bit hard, but I never stopped teaching at Central. Central Middle School has been my home school since the very beginning, and I've been there for 17 years. And then at Northern Lights, it's a K-8 school. I think my eighth graders this year will have been kindergartners when I started teaching there.
yeah.
So hopefully the only orchestra teacher and experience or whatever starts with me.
Yeah. Yeah. And so you're an active double bass player as well in Anchorage area. Tell us a little bit about your experience with that.
I love playing. I took the first year off when I moved back to Alaska, um, but then I auditioned into the Anchorage Symphony, and it had such a maternal group, and it was so loving and accepting. When I got there, one of the classroom music teachers with the longest tenure in the district was our principal bass player, Miriam Delap, and she just retired,
Mhm.
and she was just she left a legacy.
Yeah.
And then after she retired, there was auditions for principal bass and then assistant principal bass. And so currently, another middle school orchestra teacher is the principal bass, and I'm assistant principal. And then there's one more middle school orchestra teacher, two more classroom music teachers, and a private music teacher, all in the bass section.
Wow.
Yeah, the entire bass section, we're all music educators, which is super cool.
That is awesome. Yeah,
Yeah,
it sounds like the symphony, like, will, well, has to, I guess, have rehearsals, in the evenings and things when teachers are free.
yeah. There's a couple times when things get overlapped.
Uh-huh.
This last year, my principal bass was at a concert with my son, but I had to go to rehearsal because somebody had to lead the bass section, so I
Wow.
missed it.
Yep. Yeah.
Um, and it's about 100 nights a year.
Oh, wow. Wow, so
Yeah.
you're between school and that, you're pretty busy, and then you play with the opera as well?
Yeah, there's 3 operas this season.
Okay.
Typically, the middle opera is a, new work and a very reduced work, so I'm often not playing that one. So I'll
Mhm.
play the beginning of the season in October and then the end of the season in April or May,
Okay.
but I'm the principal bass of the opera, which I very much love.
Yeah. Like, you're just crazy busy. Eh, and then you also, are in a tribute band, you were telling me, on, bass guitar?
Yeah, yeah, this band is, they're close to my heart. It's my dad's band from when they were in high school. It's this original band that came out of a class called Camerata from East High School,
Uh-huh.
and they've been playing together for 50 years. And
Amazing.
yeah, yeah. So they have a book, they have history, and their bass player moved out of state, and
Mhm.
everybody is getting close to 70. So um they brought me in, and I've been playing bass guitar with this reunion band. We've played, I think, 3 reunions now. So
That's
kind of
fun.
odd but fun. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, something different, but still musical. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And the bass guitar is new to me, but also very important, I feel like, for bass players. And I got the bass guitar originally. I got hired to play The Little Mermaid, the Broadway show,
Mhm.
and they needed upright and bass guitar. So I was like, well, here we go.
Yeah.
So
You're really
yeah,
pushing yourself. That's pretty good. And then you're also, in the physical fitness, I know we were talked about that a little bit. Um,
yep.
yeah, like, always working out, taking care of yourself, but that's what keeps you going. You have, when I said we should have you on the podcast, it's like, you have the greatest energy and, that enthusiasm, and you can just tell that, your heart is 100% into teaching, and that's what it's all about. So, tell us about, some of the things you do with your beginners, or any, like, special strategies or techniques, or anything that maybe you do with your beginners that would love to share with, our some of our listeners.
Sure. Well, first thing is music is sound first. So I try to introduce concepts with sound first before I do anything else. Sound or touch, basically.
Mhm.
Um, and then this has been a very unique learning experience for me as a mom. The age group I teach is also currently the age group of my own children. So,
Wow. Yeah.
yeah. So I'm able to sort of see some of the development, issues, both at home and then at school, and sort of want to accommodate them. So I talk to kids with language like growing pains. We're going to try this, and we're probably going to have some squeaks, make some mistakes, but that's just part of the process. I'll probably squeak too, and then and go forward. And I try to do that so that they feel safe to try.
Yeah. That's important.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I feel like it's, they're people, and they're gonna, I don't ever want to be that music teacher that gives them a bad memory.
Right.
So, um, just remembering that these things it's a first experience. They're not going to be perfect at it. So they need to have multiple attempts, and I need to be patient,
Hmm.
and realize that. So I just try to kind of keep that line of thought through how I deal with kids in general. When it comes to discipline, there are people, I'm a person, I want the same respect that they would like.
Yeah.
So we say please, thank you, and I'm sorry.
Great. Great. I mean, yeah. I mean, I think there's so many kids out there that want to do it, need need to do it perfectly, or they don't want to do it at all. Or there's kids out there that if they don't have it perfect, they just shut down. So it's a really great nurturing atmosphere and that you bring.
I'm trying. A lot of times it takes a while before something clicks. And even more so, I think I've heard or read some research that part of what inspires a kid to keep going is that they identify with the music that they have identified as a musician,
Hmm.
right? Oh, playing violin is something that I do. I'm
Yeah.
going to keep going.
Yeah.
And so, but in order to get to that point, they have to decide that they're good at it.
Yeah.
So I have to keep the door open so that they can become good at it.
That's right. It's all a part of that process of motivation and making it intrinsic rather than, well, here's candy or something like that. So that's really great, really great. Tell us a little bit about. I know a lot of our viewers are probably like, what is music like in Alaska? What are the programs like in Alaska? And a lot of people have asked me, but kind of tell us, a little bit about. I know about the state and the MEA and the music, and program and music programs in general. You just kind of give us like a little overview. I think a lot of
Yeah.
people will find it interesting because when I went up, you know, it feels like it's a very different place, um, but the people are awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah, the Alaska is so unique, and quite isolated. Main spots in the state include Fairbanks, Anchorage, Kenai, and the southeast, Juneau, Sitka. And so we have, and Anchorage is about 300 or more thousand, and we only have one school district for it. We don't have multiple school districts. And our programs typically don't offer marching band. That's unless
probably
that
a lot of snow for that in the fall.
right. There's a group in the valley that has been doing it, and they even got to go, I think, on a trip to New York and participate in a parade.
Do they have
Um,
some indoor facilities or no?
Oh, yeah, I'm sure they do. There's the big centers, sports
Okay,
complexes, but I don't know how they make that happen.
right, right, okay,
Um, but there's also not a football season exactly to go with the marching band. So we're the whole, the bathwater and the bath are out the window with that.
yeah, yeah,
Um, but we do have strings offered in the schools, so
hmm,
it's not exclusively band and choir. And as far as I understand, in most districts in our state, so we do have um, both ensembles, and they start in sixth grade as it's a pull out,
sure.
but it's 3 days a week for 45 minutes
That's
typically.
that's a pretty good amount of time. Normally, pullouts are 2 days a week and a lot shorter, so that's great.
Um, Yeah, it's really nice. Sixth grade is the beginning year for band and orchestra. We have in the school district, in Anchorage School District, and we have about 92 to 96% of our sixth graders are in band and orchestra,
Wow.
which, yeah, it's fantastic. I'm so glad that you brought up about retention from building to building a couple weeks ago,
Mhm.
because the 92 in sixth grade does not translate to seventh grade, but
Too bad, right? I mean, can you imagine? Yeah. So,
Hopefully, that'll get fixed.
but that you said that the sixth grade programs are kind of. I remember hearing that they were like really highly encouraged because that allows for those sixth grade teachers to actually have a planning period.
Yep, yep,
It's amazing
y
what that does.
I know, right? Shucky darn.
Yeah.
Um, so we have band and orchestra, choir happens outside of the school day, typically in elementary, and then in middle school, choir gets added as an option.
Okay.
There are at the middle school level, there are not too many guitar, ukulele, keyboard classes. At the high school levels, those are a little bit more offered.
Okay.
One or two schools might have a band teacher who decided to get gung ho with the drum line.
Mhm.
And then we have so that's the public school. So, and then in the middle schools, we have what's called All City Orchestra, and it's the honor group and band, of course. And then in elementary, honor orchestra, band, and choir. Then
Okay.
in the city, there's another group. There's Alaska Youth Orchestras, and they also provide orchestra, and it really it feeds a lot of the homeschool families as
Okay.
well. But they have multiple levels of classes. They have symphony school, which they just started this last year, which is probably like the age group that I'm teaching for second, third year students for
Okay.
2 classes, but that age group is not 6th through 8th grade. That could be 4th graders.
Yeah. Okay.
So, then they have a pre-audition class, and then I think they have 2 levels of youth symphony. So there's those opportunities. We have, there's a jazz band festival, I think that the high school band directors have arranged,
Mhm.
and we have, solo and ensemble. And then we also have the large group festivals where each orchestra goes and performs on stage for an adjudicator, but we only have one adjudicator and no sight reading.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So it's a little different than a lot of places. Um, and one thing we talked about was accessibility to professional development and things like that are pretty difficult and
Mhm.
obviously pretty expensive to get in and out to go to a conference or things like that. So you have the summer academy that we just did, and so you know, have different people come in to do that. Um,
Mhm.
yeah. So
Yeah, there's 2 adult camps that you could attend as well. There's a camp at, University of Fairbanks in the summer, that's been a 2-week-long art camp for a long time. It's actually where I met Paul Sharp and, made the connection to
so
go
these are
to
for,
Paul.
this is a kids camp, or
Well,
it's
there
just
is a kids camp, but there's an adult
there's
camp
a
too.
teacher camp too. Okay. Wow. Hmm.
Mhm, yeah, and, my grandmother was my sponsor, so I got to go.
Nice.
Yeah,
Thanks,
and then
Grandma.
right?
Right.
And then there's a big fine arts camp that I think that's actually a kids camp in Sitka, the Sitka Fine Arts Camp, and Zool Bailey plays there. So
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's nice. But uh, everything's pretty spread out. Like, how far is it from Fairbanks to Anchorage?
it's a 6 to 8 hour drive.
Yeah. See, I think a lot of people don't realize too. When I flew from Atlanta to Anchorage, it was an 8-hour flight, and I was telling people I was like, I could go to Europe faster. You
Right?
know, so it's quite amazing. People forget how big the state is and how spread apart the major um, population areas are. The big cities are. I mean, I wouldn't call Anchorage a big city, but it's where a lot of people are. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
for sure. You know, something that came out of pandemic was all the remote conferences, remote, all the stuff that just sort of popped out, and it became available for somebody like me.
Hmm.
So I got to attend NAMM in January,
Right.
I think 2020 or 2021, you know,
Yeah.
virtually,
Yeah.
from my living room.
Yeah. And we were talking about last hour about the ASTA virtual summit that's coming in next month, the 17th and 18th. That's something that is new too, and you know, ASTA is realizing that a lot of people can't get away, or it's funding issues, or it's time, and the virtual things, it's not the same, but a lot of great information, a lot of great presenters, and things like that, and you can, you know, have that opportunity. Even I got to put a plug in for Ohio State here. I got my shirt on. The Ohio State workshop is happening next month as well. the 9th, I believe, or so of July for a whole week. And that is also, there's a hybrid version of that too. So there's a bunch of news sessions and archive sessions that people can attend and use. So there's a lot of availability now that way, virtually, especially for those that are far away or, again, just have busy family lives or both or funding issues or all three, so.
Yeah, I'm really hoping that uh conventions continue
Yeah,
online, you
that's been
know?
really helpful for you guys, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the cost is a lot less, and you don't have to pay the travel and,
Oh my gosh. Right,
yeah.
because the first thing you have to do is get to Seattle.
Okay, and then you gotta go from there wherever then you need to go, yeah.
Mhm.
Direct flights are hard. I had a direct flight, when I was up, but, I had a direct flight in November too, and then they canceled that, and I went through Seattle.
Right,
So,
right?
yeah, so that happens, but, yeah, so very cool, very cool. And then, what are some of the things that you're seeing, I know some of them. We talked about a lot of them, when I was there, but maybe sharing with our listeners too, some of the things you're seeing, post-pandemic, in your classrooms and just, I guess, school-wide vibes. What are you guys experiencing? And it may be different than what someone in Florida is experiencing.
Um, I feel like kids are extremely familiar. They seem a little bit younger and they
Mhm.
talk over each other. They definitely touch and hug and stuff like that.
Okay.
But it when we were doing school virtually, in Alaska, or at least in Anchorage, you could sit in front of your class and you could eat lunch and you could talk to mom if you put the computer on silent,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So kids have translated that to the classroom.
Oh, no, that's not good. Right. Yeah. And I'm not
Yeah.
sure, what our listeners, if you guys feel the same way, is that happening in your classroom more frequently, that kind of thing? Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good question, and I'm not sure if I mentioned this when you were here, but I realized that I've got a long time in my teaching career still, and
Mhm.
I'm going to be teaching kids who are going to be adjusting to life after COVID forever.
Mhm.
My cousin has a 3-year-old son, and they're very active with him, but he's already delayed because of masks in his
Wow.
speech. And,
Mhm.
you know, that's I'm gonna be teaching for another 15 years. Those kids are gonna be coming through our classrooms for another 15 years. So,
Yeah.
this is an adjustment that is here to stay for a little while, I think.
Yeah. You wonder when the roll off will really happen or if this is just how it is now. Mhm.
Yeah. Well, I think that if we don't adjust, then we are going to kind of set ourselves up for failure.
Yeah. Yeah. And then the other thing that was really surprising to me was a lot of the attendance issues that you're having there. Just kids getting to school or coming to school or choosing to come to school. Can
Oh,
you elaborate a little bit on that?
yeah, or their parents. It has been wild. We had a huge push to get, I think, 90% attendance by 2020, and then the pandemic hit, and we were remote, and so attendance became, some kids never popped back up for us. There were kids that were lost, and then the if you're sick, stay home. Um,
Yeah.
came through, and so kids were staying home. And so at the same time, teachers are also trying to learn how to teach in person and also provide remote education,
Right.
right? And which is just not the same with music, with
Mm-mm. Yeah. Right.
ensemble.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And then from there, uh, parents, um, I don't know what's been happening, but there's been parents pulling kids out, and this for the first time in my career, I think I had 3 7th graders drop out of school this year.
Like completely drop out, seventh graders.
7th graders. The last time I saw one of the kids was 3rd quarter, and
Wow.
yeah, it is just it's amazing, and, their families are keeping them out. They still show up, and sometimes there might be an excuse, in the attendance list, and sometimes there isn't. Um, so I am, a little bit worried,
Yeah.
about those lost kids.
Yeah, because, if they're not there, they're not gonna learn, and then it just kind of snowballs.
Exactly,
Oh,
exactly, and Alaska is the dangerous place, you know?
okay. It you mean, how do you mean by that?
Well, there's first the weather and the climate,
Sure.
which is just a natural hazard, and then after that, all the abuse statistics, all that those numbers are really bad for Alaska, which is so
Okay.
unfortunate, and a lot of it is because of isolation
Right.
and
Being
the dark.
inside and, I mean, when I was there, it was warm and I mean, it was raining most of the days I was there, which was a bummer, but a lot
Yes.
of people were still outside walking, I noticed, and, um, just getting outside, but I can't imagine, how that probably doesn't happen as frequently. I didn't really see people walking outside when I was there in November, although I was only there for a day. I give that, but it is something that I guess we should be people up there should be concerned about, and yeah, thinking about.
Yeah, well, it's kinda cute because you end up seeing, violinists and cellists coming into symphony with, like, an extra coat on their case.
Yeah.
There's one lady, it's really cute, she has a coat for her cello, she puts
Oh,
it on her back, the coat goes on the cello.
well, yeah. I mean, it's otherwise it could probably be pretty bad with the dryness and cracks, and especially bass player. Do you have a lot of problems with your bass?
I have to adjust my bass, twice a year, bridge adjusters
Okay.
for the strings,
Yep.
and I just have to adjust it. I keep a huge humidifier, in the, basement of my house, and that is going regularly,
Yeah.
um, but it does need adjustment, and I ended up having to get, a carbon fiber rod put in the neck of my instrument, because the unfortunately, it was made with newer wood,
Yep.
so
Yep. That happens sometimes. Yeah. But I just can't imagine, like the extremes, the elements on your instruments, and you come back after a winter break. I'm sure you're spending at least a day tuning all of those instruments.
yeah, yeah, January, February can be really bad.
Yeah.
When I was growing up, it'd be like 2 weeks of 20 below 0, but now what it looks like is my fingers cracking from turning.
Oh, yeah. I can't even imagine that either, especially when you get the very fun instrument with the fine tuners that are like little graters of your fingers. Yeah.
Right,
Oh
right.
boy. Oh boy. Wow, wow. Um, well, I'm just trying to think if there's anything else that you have on your mind or want to share with our listeners. There were so many fascinating teachers there with that I got to meet and work with, and you all had kind of different stories, and so, there were quite a few of you that were like locals and had been raised there, but then like Rodrigo's from Brazil, and like it was just really cool to meet different people and do that. But I bet it's really interesting some of the diversity that you have up there.
Yeah, I told you the bass section was full of teachers,
Hmm.
but not one of us are alike.
Yeah,
So, that there's that. Um, yeah, the thing the thing about that really, I wanna press when I think about music education, is, well, there's a couple of things.
hmm,
One is that, string music is not limited to, classical
yeah,
music, and it is not always encouraging or inviting to say, "Let's play this piece that everybody's played a million times. Again, it's good for you to learn it,
Hmm.
right? Instead, why don't we explore something new,
Yeah.
you know, and make string playing relevant? We can.
Hmm.
I love Beethoven's Fifth. I've played it 3 times. You can only play Beethoven's Fifth so many times within a lifetime.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Um, so really expanding what roles string players have in the music world, I think, is crucial for our young people to know what to do with the information that we're giving them.
Yeah.
Um, because when I was growing up, all I was like, okay, I want to play music. I want to teach. I'm going to be a music teacher. There's no other job for me, right? And
Yeah.
that was and also when I was in school, I was being told that the symphony careers were dying out, and there's definitely not. You can't make a life out of a symphony career in Alaska, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but but what other options are there? And I'm trying to provide those, or at least make the kids aware.
Hmm.
And then to go with that, bass playing and bass players are it I feel like it underserves a bass player if you only teach them a classical style. If
Hmm.
you do not introduce them charts, or how to even read a chart, or what a chart is, or
Yeah.
how to play something that isn't classical, because people will ask a bass player, "Oh, can you
Yeah.
play XYZ, slap the bass, da 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 da." So it if you only teach a bass player, one side of things, there's a whole nother genre, a whole nother world that they could learn.
Hmm.
And I wish somebody had kicked me in the butt and told me
Same.
told
Same here.
right, told me to join jazz band when I was in school, but I was too terrified that I was gonna screw up and make a bad sound and
Yeah.
everybody would not like. Um, so those things are really important. And then I saw some of your podcast with the ASTA president,
Oh
and
yeah. Rebecca. Yeah.
yeah, she spoke on um, caring for your hearing.
Yes.
And I am so grateful that that work is being done. It needs to be done, and it needs to be shared, and it needs to be shared professionally, while the adults that are performing now still have hearing.
Yeah.
That kind of preservation is huge. And I don't know much about it, but I'd like to. And as a music educator, I feel like it's my duty to also inform my students on how to preserve their hearing.
Yeah. Well,
So I'm the
definitely keep an eye on Rebecca's work because she's amazing, and the work that she does is amazing. And if there is uh, good research to come out of that area, she will find it and she will present it. You know.
I'm
So
excited about
yeah,
that.
that's really cool. That's really cool. Well, this has been so fun, and I just like I said, I had the greatest time working with you all up there, and so hospitable, and we just had great conversations, one after another, after another, after another, and everybody was participating, and it was just a joy to be there. And it's great to get to know you. I appreciate you coming on the podcast today, and sharing a little bit about yourself and how it is up north. But yeah, it's really cool, and like I said, just super fun to be able to learn from you and get to know you a little bit, and all the rest of the teachers in Anchorage. So excited about coming back in November. I
Yay!
know, I can't wait to do all state. So that'll be a lot of fun. Back in the
That'll be
cold times in November. So
bring your
I will
coat.
bring my coat, gloves, a scarf, and hat for sure.
Perfect.
But thank you again, and send everybody up there my best. And everybody, Katie, I will put up her school email on the podcast description if you're interested in asking questions, or you have some base specific things too. I'm sure she's happy to chat with you on email or whatever. So
Sure. Thank
yeah.
you so much.
Thank you. And this is a wrap for this week on Orchestra Teacher Podcast. We had 3 great episodes, 3 amazing guests, and it was just been super fun. So we will see you all next time. And we got some great guests coming up as well. So I'll keep you posted about that.
right. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in. For resources and more information, visit orchestrateacher.net.